Hey guys, welcome back. The title of this video is going to be The Stock Market's Rat Tail. The stock market's rat tail. This is a weird idea that I had last night sitting on my couch. I think about the stock market all the time. I don't know why. I just have this passion for the financial markets and I just enjoy it, right? I think about these things all the time. I'm always looking at it. And this weird idea came up to me. It's because I've been looking at these charts for so long and thinking about these holders of these stocks, these epic stocks that we all admire, right? These stocks like Apple, Microsoft, Google, etc., etc. Berkshire Hathaway, that's another one, right? And the way I thought about this last night was, I'm like, how can I talk about these legacy holders, these people who have been holding these stocks for 10, 20, 30 years? And I don't know why, but in my mind, a rat came to mind because of the long, flat tail, right? When you look at a stock chart, right, when you go to Yahoo Finance and you click on the All button, right, you look at the history of these stocks over time. And at the very beginning is the real volatile part, and it's up to the moon, right? Like, if the perfect stock to really look at this is with Apple, okay? And then you look and it's just big and volatile, and then at the very bottom is this long, slow rat's tail, okay? Now, that tail has a lot of stories to it, right? It's got a bunch of holders, investors, that they've gone through the stories of this company, right? It's called the investor base. That investor base spans a super long rat's tail, okay? And there's stories in that rat's tail. It looks flat on the chart, right? When you look at a 20, 30-year stock chart, it's flat. It looks like it was the most boring time that anyone had in this stock, but it's not, right? When you look into it, if you zoom in, there's a story there. And there's stories about the company itself and about what happened in that company. And those holders, they know those stories, right? They can tell those stories. And there's an interesting culture in every stock that's out there, right? The people that are holding these high growth, highly successful companies, there are stories there. And you're part of a community. That's the cool thing about it, right? And I talked about this in a previous video, kind of like the surfing community. Well, there's a riding the rat community, right? This rat tail that you're part of, and you want to be part of the rat tail, okay? How does that work? Well, it takes a long time, okay? When you first get into a stock, you're pretty much like you're riding the rat. You're holding on for dear life, and you're hoping you can just keep holding on, and that rat starts to grow and compound. And when that happens, you start to slide down to the tail end of that rat, okay? And as a company grows, it's going to issue dividends eventually, right? Cash flows are going to start to come in. It's going to be profitable. So a lot of stocks, when they first start out, they don't have dividends, right? When they go public, they don't have dividends, and it's just a growth compound valuation story at that point, right? There's not a lot of cash flows. The stocks are real speculative. It's a wild ride up and down. But as time goes on and a company becomes successful, grows profits, cash flows start coming in, you know what happens? You start getting dividends, and you start sliding down the rat to the tail, okay? And those dividends, what happens is when you first start out in a stock, you buy it at, let's say, $100 stock price, right? And when those dividends start coming in, you start reaccumulating more and more shares, and your cost basis now from $100 becomes $95. And then it becomes $90. And then the company's stock price goes up so high that guess what happens? They do a stock split. And now you get more shares. It's not an increase in valuation, but you get more shares and your cost basis goes down even further. You start falling and sliding down the rat tail. And the longer you hold, the farther back you go in the rat tail, right? You become part of the story of the stock, right? That long period of time when you click on the all button on Yahoo Finance, you're part of the way down the rat tail. And these holders are holding 1,000% gains, sometimes tens of thousands of percent stock gains, sometimes 100,000%, depending on the stock, right? Different stocks, they have different growth rates, right? But that's your goal. Your goal is to be part of the rat tail for every stock you invest in. Apple, I bought in 2011. That it's a long tail, okay? I'm at the very beginning of the rat tail. I'm not even at the end. I mean, there's some holders that are way beyond me. But I'm at the rat tail. And here's the thing, is when you're in the tail, you don't feel what the rat's doing up here. It's kind of just flat and chill. I mean, you can kind of feel it, right? If there's a big jump, you feel it, because you've got thousands of percent gains, right? But you don't feel it as much. You still get to vote on how that rat's behaving. You still get to vote on that. You have shares, you get to vote on what's going on with that company. But you don't feel it as much because it's just flat and chill, right? You don't think there's a story there, but there is. It's like even like Tesla today. I started investing in 2019. Now, that rat tail is very short because the company went IPO in 2012 or 2008. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was 2008, around there. So it's a real short tail right now, right? And right now it's in the volatile stage, but it's starting to form that tail. You're starting to see a length on there. Same thing with like Google. That's another one. It's a longer tail, a little bit longer tail. But in 30 years, I want to be at the end of the tail for Tesla. I want to be at the super end of the tail for Apple, okay? It's going to be way up there, these stocks, these growth stocks, these tech companies. They're going to be up there. And you want to be part of that story of just compound wealth, dividends, stock splits. And guess what? Stock buybacks. That's part of it too. When these companies buy back, I mean, Apple, they're buying back $20 billion a quarter or something like that. I can't remember what it is. There's less and less shares available. So what happens? That stock price just keeps going up and up and up. And that tail just gets flatter and flatter and flatter. The flatter the tail, the stock price is bigger. You want to be part of that story, right? Ride that rat at first. It's going to be a wild ride. That rat's, it's mad, It's like just bouncing up and down, right? But eventually, you're going to get to that tail. That tail end is where you want to be, okay? Long and strong is the key to this game, all right? So anyways, it was just a interesting analogy. You could also think of it as like a bucking bronco, but a bronco doesn't have a long tail. So I didn't want to go with the bucking bronco. I'm going with the rat, okay? Don't fall off the rat, right? Stay on, hold on as long as you can and get to that tail and start sliding down, man. Taking them dividends, taking them stock splits. It's gonna be fun when you get there, okay? Just hold on, man. Hold on long enough. So anyways, if you guys could, take a look at my previous videos and thanks for coming and have a great day. Cheers.